Welcome to Entre Nous. Today, I am thrilled to welcome a truly exceptional guest, Tami Muller. She is a passionate advocate for happiness and well-being, blending her rich professional background with her mission to create meaningful change. As the founder of the Business Club at the Happiness Study Academy, she created a platform where professionals can explore the intersection of happiness and success in the workplace. Tami is also an author, sharing her insights and experience in a book that promises to inspire and empower its reader. Through her work, she has impacted countless lives, helping individuals and organizations alike to prioritize. I always have problem with that word, well-being, foster authentic connection, and embrace sustainable happiness. In today's conversation, we'll dive deep into her journey, explore the inspiration behind her book, and uncover the transformative power of happiness in both personal and professional contexts. Stay with us for what promise to be a thought-provoking and inspiring discussion. Thank you, Tami, for your time. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's very exciting.
Tami, could you share a bit about your personal journey and some pivotal moments that shape your vision of happiness and well-being?
Okay. So I was born and raised in Israel. I came to the United States already as an adult with a baby. And I have a master's degree in business and in economics. And I never thought about psychology. I would escape the class for psychology. It was never my thing. And I was doing business development for probably 25 years or 30 years. And when I came here to Miami, a couple of years after I came, my father very suddenly passed away. He was 59 years old. And it was a huge shock and wake-up call for me to understand that there must be something, behind the business and the money, and there must be something else. And I started to research it, and it took me many, many years that I read books, and I started to listen to all kinds of tapes and meditations, and to understand that there's something that I wanted to explore further. And I think it took me 20 years to finally do the change. Yeah, it took me 20 years because, I was working in the business. I had 3 kids that I had to raise, and I wasn't looking, to fulfill my inner mission. I wasn't looking at that, but it was interesting for me. And after 20 years, I came across the Happiness Studies Academy. I was sitting on my laptop and I saw Dr. Tal Ben Shahar, and one thing led to another. And I decided that I want to make this change. And I started to study the happiness, science of happiness. And for me, the first lesson, I remember that I was like, wow, so all of a sudden, everything that I always did without knowing what I was doing, but I was always a happy person. And I was thinking to myself, wow, there is a science and there is a name to everything that I understand. And I don't really know the science, but I know there is. So when I graduated, I figured that's what I want to do for a living. And I actually left my previous world and I started this new life, as a happiness coach. And then I got certified in positive psychology. And that's what I do. And I just love to see the impact that it has on people.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing when you discover all this, new world, if we can call it like that, right?
And it's
And
amazing that you can teach it. This is what's amazing. Because I always thought I was born like that, Yeah, I'm a happy, positive person, and some others are just not.
yes.
But then I realized that it's not true, that you can teach and um, you can inspire others to do the same, and you can teach, and I love to see the impact.
And what inspired you to create the business club at the Happiness Study Academy?
I knew what I was doing. I think if I had an idea what was waiting, I probably wouldn't do it because it was crazy, a lot of work. But I felt when I graduated that I was just sitting in front of the computer all the time, and I need people interaction. And so I missed the part of the community. This was the one thing. And then when I did business development for my company, I did a lot of networking. And I believe in networking. I don't believe in sales techniques. I don't believe in, I don't believe in any of that. I believe in networking. I believe in connecting to people and sharing best practices and working together. And I thought that many of us, it was right after the COVID, after Corona, and many of us were, moving from one thing to another. We wanted to open our own little practice or our own little business, and people needed the tools to do it. I have a master's degree in business, so I knew what needed to be done. And I figured that it was going to be very beneficial for many graduates to get the tools to open their own practice. Because, when we talk about the happiness revolution in action, we need to be able to do something with it, to teach it to other people. We need to have the tools. So this is what I wanted to do. And I remember going, and Tal said to me, come on the webinar and see if there's interest. So I went on the webinar and I said, I had this idea, and if you're interested, send me an email. And I remember that I went home and I had 100 emails. It was overwhelming. Everybody wanted it. And then we connected together with we had 20 people, 25 people that worked with me the entire year to make it happen. It was not easy. We had 5 committees, and people were volunteering their time, their knowledge. It was one of the most fulfilling and inspiring activities I ever did in my life. Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh,
And
the
it's
club is
working.
amazing. Yes, it is working for all of us, and it's a wonderful tool. I can say, we connect, we help each other. It's just amazing. I love it.
And I remember the day we launched, we had a bet between us, okay?
Yeah.
And we said, maybe we'll have 20 members, maybe 30. And I said, we'll have at least 40. And we made a bet. And I won the bet because we had 50 the first day. And I think today, we have more than 1,200 people.
Yeah. No, we have a lot of also sub clubs, if we can say, the
Yes,
writing, it's the family. It's amazing. It's
I
amazing.
know. It's the best thing I've done in my life, I think.
And thank you very much for that creative idea.
It was just my idea, but I did it with everybody that was helping me. I mean, I was co-president with Iris Shapira from Israel. We did it together, and we had a committee that was working day and night, 24/7, seriously, to make it happen.
And how do you think that the business club promote happiness and well-being in professional environments?
So, some of us, not everyone, but some of us working in organizations. I know that Dana is now having the certificate for organizations. Some people bring it to organizations. Some people bring it to schools. I'm now probably going to do something with the universities, with adult facilities, with seniors. So when we say professional, some of us are doing it for a living, okay? And we bring it to various places that need, and between you and I, Laura, everybody needs it. I don't think
Yes.
there's somebody who doesn't need it, especially when you come and you talk about the science. And this is elevating, the talk that was out there about happiness. Because people thought, yeah, happiness is like, yeah, hug a tree or, think positive, but it's not. It's much, because it's much more serious than that. So some of us go to organizations and bring it, but I think it makes all of us better professionals, because when we share the knowledge and when we share practices, we all become better coaches, better trainers, better speakers. So we become more professionals.
Yes, yes, and all of us, like you say, all of us need this, and also because people it's finding out that it's a science, like you said. It's not just being happy, positive. It's more than that. It's much, much
That's
more.
why I liked it, because as I said, I come from the mathematical, financial. So
Yeah.
if you told me to do breath work, I wouldn't even listen.
Yes.
before. Now I will. So what really brought me into this world is the science. And that's why I like it.
Yeah.
I think this is the difference that we make, that we talk serious stuff.
And what is one myth about happiness in business that you think everyone should just let go of?
I think that the myth is if we pay more to our employees, they'll be happier. I think, many organizations, that's what they believe, that money is the ultimate currency. And, we all know that happiness is the ultimate currency, and that it's not a waste of time, and that it's not nonsense. There is an ROI that is confirmed and the organizations that work with the happiness of their employees, it's not just a nice thing to do, but it pays off. And I think that one of the biggest myths is that it's nonsense, that, if I pay my employee more, he's going to be happier. And we know that it's not true. And my book that talks about, and we're going to talk about it, but it talks about how do you believe that something external is going to make you happy? So when you take things to the business world, you realize that money is not going to do that. It's not
Exactly.
enough.
It's not enough. And you were talking about your book, and regarding your book, that, like I told you in the beginning when we were talking, I love it. I really enjoy your book, and I already prepare even the recipes that are in your book. But how to be on a diet for 45 years and never be, what was the most challenging part of writing it, and what lesson did you learn from the process?
So I think the biggest challenge for me was to find exactly what I want to say. Because I thought it was a very catchy title. My stories are funny. It could be really, but it wasn't enough. And I had this book in my head for 15 years, and I didn't write anything. I just had it all the time in my head. And when I started to study, this is when it all clicked together, and I saw the connection.
Mhm.
I saw the connection, and I realized that if I always believed that what stood between me and pure happiness was 20 pounds, I realized that each one has their own version of my 20 pounds. It can be when I make enough money, when I get married, when my kids get married, when I retire. We always have this something, something external that we believe is going to make us happy. So the book is about my experience. But when I realized what the message is, I wrote the book in 2 months.
Oh, amazing.
Because I knew what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's amazing because, like you said, you found with your experience, you found, the way to connect with also happiness. Because, like you say, we tend to think that happiness will be the next car, the house, the marriage, and actually happiness is inside, and it's each
It's
of us.
nice. It's a nice little happy time, but it's not long lasting. It's not enough. And I think one of the best compliments that I got, that somebody told me about the book, is they said to me, "Wow, you take so very serious stuff and you make it funny, and you make it accessible." And I think this is what I really wanted to do. I wanted to bring it in my voice. I wanted people to enjoy and to laugh, and at the same time learn some serious stuff. And I think this was the idea of the book.
But that's the amazing thing about your book, is that you're reading something that is making you laugh, because I laughed about the diets and everything, your guru with, the magic potion and all the things. And all of a sudden you turn that into something more serious. And it's amazing because you are teaching also,
Yes.
listen, I went through this, I learned this, and that's what's so catchy about your book. It's amazing.
Yes. And then you have recipes that you can try, and then you have self-work sheets. So, it's a nice experience. I think so.
Meatball that your mom used to prepare, even the bread. I didn't know about the shala bread.
Challah.
Challah, I don't know. I'm sorry. The challah bread. I Google because I was curious, and I was like, "What
But
is it?"
I'm not making bread. So we're
Yeah.
just eating it. But yeah, but I mean, the recipes in the book, they have a meaning. Some of them are just funny. Some of them are, about every diet or every phase. And I think everybody can find things in that book that they can use in the recipes. It's just a bonus.
And also the quote that you have that you wrote in the book from Daniel
Daniel
Kahneman.
Kahneman. Yeah,
Yeah, about nothing in life is as important as you think it is while you are thinking about it. It's wonderful.
wonderful. I know this is perspective. I have an entire chapter about perspective. So basically,
Yes.
just for everybody to know, so each of the chapters, we have 17 chapters. Each chapter has some type of a funny story, okay, from my life. Every word is true. I couldn't even make it up. So there's one story, and then takes you to something from positive psychology and the science of happiness. So this is really the segue, okay, from something funny and humorous to something more serious. And when I did the VIA Strength Finder, my top one was humor, and I think that when I utilize it and I gave myself the permission to use my strength in my book, I think this is when everything clicked.
Wonderful. And tell me, what has been the most rewarding part of your journey so far?
My journey has so many point of view. So there are very many rewarding. From my family to my professional and everything. But I think when we talk about my happiness journey as a trainer, I think the most rewarding is when people come to me and tell me, "Wow, I listened to you or I read your book and it changed my life." People write it to me and say to me all the time, "It changed my life." And when I hear that, every time I just want to cry. I think to myself, I'm so lucky that I get to do it, that I get to influence people like that.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. And how do you personally maintain balance and happiness in your own life?
Well, I think I give myself. I like to be a very freedom. I mean, I have a very free way of life. So I spend some time, here, and I spend some time in Israel. And I think relationship, really the relationship that I have, my friendship, my children, my husband, this is for me the most important thing that balances my professional life and my happiness. And I always remember, to be grateful for what I have. I always remember that money is not everything. And I always remember that if I can make somebody's life a little brighter, I'm always happy to do that. And I'm trying to balance it by in my age, many of my friends are very fixated on something, and I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be open and understanding and travel and do things that I love to do. Just like we said, I like to combine pleasure, and I love pleasure, with purpose, and I have a wonderful purpose. So that's what I'm trying to do every single day.
That is what is amazing, right? That your purpose in life is also something that you really, really enjoy.
Enjoy.
It's
Yeah.
helping others much, much better.
I know. It's a shame that I realized it only when I was very close to 60, right? I wish I knew that earlier, that this was possible. But, we didn't believe that it's possible, but it is.
Yeah, but now I think it's the time because now people really are looking, for ways to be happy, and to discover that happiness is inside of each of us. Is a choice. It's not material things or anything that will make us, well, we will be content, right?
It's
But
inside, but it's supposed to go out. It has to go out.
it has to
We,
go.
yeah,
You
we
have to
need to teach,
irradiate.
and we need to help other people
Yes.
experience it also. It's not enough just for me to be happy and content in my small little world. It's not enough. I think we need to bring it to so many people that have no idea how to do it, and this is our job. This is our purpose.
I remember when I was talking, because I interviewed also Tal, and I told him this story, and I think in other interviews also I mentioned it, but for me it was when I was looking for something after my Ayurveda, meditation, yoga, journalism, and everything. I was looking for something else, something about happiness, and I found this the Happiness Academy, and I found something else. And I asked some friends, and I said, "Can you please help me see this, this syllabus, and see this one? And which one do you think I help me to choose, right? Because I'm like in between, and I don't know what to do." And they say, "Oh, happiness, Laura. What are you going to say? Like, I'm here to teach you happiness? What is that? Just choose the other one." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to choose happiness."
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. I always say, there's a song, it's called What a Sweetheart Like You is Doing in a Dump Like This. And, people always tell me, what are you doing in a place like that?
Yeah.
And this is what makes me even more proud to be in this, because I'm telling people, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You need to be courageous. You need to have the courage after so many years in one world to leave everything behind you
Yeah.
and even dress differently. I mean, I used to dress differently. And so to leave everything behind you and adopt another way of life and talk about things that you never spoke before. I never talked about my happiness, about my feelings. It was not something to talk. And I think that when we have the courage to come out, okay, and tell everybody else about what we discovered, this is when we really make the change.
Yes. Yes. It's amazing. And you can feel it when you're teaching and when you're learning all of these tools also that you have to help others, they feel it, they see it in you.
Yeah.
And they
And the
just,
eyes start to shine, and you
yeah.
can see them
Yeah.
doing this in class, and I'm like,
Oh yes, that's the thing that I love. I did the certification and I really love it,
I
and I
know,
know
me too.
meditation and yoga because I am an instructor, but just the syllabus, just the whole program, it's amazing.
Right. And one more word that I want to say is that I think this is the major goal of the club. From everything else that we said, when we stay in that conversation, all right, when we meet people on a regular basis that talk happiness, think happiness, feel happiness, then it's easier for us not to feel alone in that world. We created a group of people that we want to do the same thing, but when there is no staying in that conversation, we forget, and we go about our day and we start complaining too. And this brings us back together. It keeps us in focus on the
Yeah.
happiness. This is the main goal.
Yes. And what role does mindfulness or self-awareness play in your philosophy? And are there daily practices you recommend for like workplace happiness?
You know, not necessarily just for workplace. I think for everybody, when like meditation and breath work, even though I must admit that for me, I always teach breath work, but when I do the breath, it makes me short of breath. I'm getting hyperventilated. It's not for me. But this is what Carl is referring to as research and research. And I think it's very important that we know what works for us and what doesn't work for us. My mindfulness is to sit in my backyard, which you can see now, under my mango tree every morning, and this is my meditation. Okay.
Yeah.
Or to go to to paint, like this is what I painted, to be in flow. So these things for me are very, very important. But I urge everybody to see what works for them. When are you mindful? So put your phone down. Look at your partner when you talk to them. The informal mindfulness works better for me than the meditation, yoga. It doesn't work for me so well. But I think that, in organizations, to bring mindfulness, to bring meditation, to bring yoga, to bring all these things, and to teach the employees and the people and the teams, what it means to be present, what it means to listen, to be there, not to do 300 things at the same time, you do this and you do that. I think this is something that we really need to bring to our families during meals, during our everyday life, and to our employees. So choose whatever works for you and do
Yeah.
that.
That's the best advice, I think, because meditation, like somebody will also like to meditate walking,
Yeah,
or
that's
eating and observing nature, or just anything that works for you and that you feel that you are present in that moment. right?
Exactly. I mean, when you sit, and it's in my book also about mindful eating, you know, I mean, how many times we grab something in the car or in the fridge? No, sit without a book, without a phone, without a newspaper. Just enjoy what you're doing at that moment. Savor your food and savor your life. This is my mindfulness.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful advice.
Thank you.
We are finishing our interview, Tami, and if you could share one piece of advice for someone starting their journey towards greater happiness, what would it be?
You know, it's the same advice that I would give somebody who's starting their journey towards losing weight, towards making more money, towards being more successful, is take it one day at a time. Don't try to do heroic measures, okay? We're not trying to change the world from 0 to 100. You know, we're trying to do small steps every day. You know, today I went to Zumba for the first time yesterday, the first time, and I loved it. You know, so just do very small little things that will make the difference in your life.
Thank you. Thank you, Tami. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you very
you,
much
Laura.
for your time. Thank you for the great idea of the business club. And it's been just a pleasure, amazing to interview you. And I hope to meet you soon.
Of
And
course.
I'm going to finish your book because I really loved it. It's
Thank you so much. And I want to say one word to Sandy and to everybody who volunteers in the club. I mean, you can't believe how proud I am of you guys. You're doing such an amazing, really amazing job. And in my dreams, I didn't think it would be like that. So maybe it was the idea, but the performance and everything that came out is inspiring. And I think everybody should learn it, you know, and take what we did here in the club and bring it to their organizations because we've done something amazing. So thank you, everybody who's doing it.
Thank you, Tami. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And I hope to see you in Finland.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye. Thank you.